today. It is underway. We have started spring football officially. Practice in the books today for Florida State. Did my first out-of-state interview today, Tom, for Florida State Spring. Always interested to see the kinds of questions I'm going to get regarding Florida State football. It's usually a little bit of a glimpse into the way that we're perceived from others who cover college football, watch and love college football. So there's a curiosity at the timing of Gus's departure and whether that's going to cause any problems. I said, if anything, it was probably celebrated within the building. I think probably a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a celebration from the head coach who takes back over play calling. Tim Harris Jr., I like. I think Mike does too. So a relationship that is less contentious or acrimonious. And I thought the one thing Mike said last week when he was talking about that situation, Gus and I are different. Yes. The way he said that, I was kind of like, oh, yes. You don't see the world the same way. That is true.
No, that's correct. Perhaps, maybe, apropos that when that announcement went down and it was leaked through the coaches' offices, that the noise was much like a Gus press conference, just one, but one of relief, not of stress. See, when Gus was exhaling, he's stressed as all hell. But perhaps for the rest of the coaches, when he said, I'm going to take it on down the road, they went,
I never understood the stress because he had to do precious little. He didn't do much with the media. He wasn't asked to do much with the media. When he did have to do something, he was never going to be there for more than 5 minutes. He made it abundantly clear. He was stressed from day one, just being in the room. They hadn't even played a game.
Yeah, it was basically each time over under 1.5 questions before he's done. You might get one in there after questions. And you get the first thing, whatever it is. You make it count, everybody. Make it count in the pool room. That was not the case for me last year in the spring coaches luncheon. He was ready to leave.
He was done. He didn't want to hear Tom Lang's question.
No, it was me and Nee. It was just the two of us going back and forth with him for 15, 20 minutes. And 90 seconds in, he was not thrilled.
So it is that they're underway, and we'll, I suppose, get information as the days go by with the post-practice comments. I don't know about what becomes of today, but that's where we're at. And more importantly, we had actual games and things that took place, and Florida State won them. And you don't take them for granted, guys. High Point out here steady whipping Florida's ass. Should have been a sweep. Every week these days, you look around college baseball and you see big names, ranked teams, highly ranked teams, wearing losses to teams you might not have ever heard of before, but not the ones playing Florida State. Those teams lose to Florida State. High
Point is a red zone wide receiver thing that you say. It's a term. It's not a school. You high point the ball.
So I'm look, the bats got going. You're facing inferior competition, but you're taking care of business against inferior competition the way I dare say good teams take care of business against bad teams. That's all you can do. You want to see guys emerge. It's good to see, you ended up getting some guys back. You're still missing a couple, but we'll see. I mean, the guys that have been asked to fill in and play roles due to injury or still juggling, trying to figure out lineup, or because somebody's struggling. In the case of Chase, he's just not hitting. Those guys have all stepped in and played really well. Like they've made, if anything, what we've learned over these last several wins is the decisions about who's going to play and who's not when everybody is healthy became that much more difficult. And of course, as a coach, you want difficult decisions that are born out of success. That's a nice problem to have, right? Like if your offense in football is lighting it up and there's just not enough to go around because you have so much talent, that's a good problem. I'll deal with the internal crises of, my third receiver didn't get it thrown his way 5 times and he's pissed about it. Okay, well, we're having success everywhere else. I'll deal with it. They got guys that are straight up hitting when they get their opportunities, and it's bountiful right now. Good problem to have.
It is, and I'm not going to fall for the trap. You got a lot of good things, good developments that happen this weekend. We'll see what the lineup card looks like tomorrow for Florida. Just because they have problems with High Point doesn't mean that tomorrow's game is a cakewalk by any stretch.
It's baseball, baby. You could go lose 9-0. Who knows?
And you got Wake Forest this weekend. So I did it. We made it, even though there are good indications across the board. Seems like perhaps you might have a Tuesday starter in Abraham. Did I correctly not see him pitch this weekend when I looked at all three of the box scores?
Yeah, I think you're correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I stopped watching one of the games that got so out of hand, so I was like, maybe he didn't.
Saturday was no chance. I was following old Berger around the API track, and he was in command at that point. He did not end in command, and Sunday was a no-go. So I watched a little bit of Fridays at a resort bar, but I didn't see Abraham's name pitch this weekend, which means could he be lengthened and now contending for that Tuesday or Sunday job? That's a good problem to have. We'll see what the lineup says tomorrow night from the order standpoint as well. This is your test. Here you go. Good job. You handled business the last couple of weeks with more games and some bumps and bruises. Florida, Wake Forest, all on the road. What do you got this week?
Yeah, by the way, David, I agree with you in the chat. Just pulled it up here, glancing over and see where everybody's at. Hello to everybody in the chat. Yeah, Florida played High Point and we played Northern Kentucky, and his point would be like, why didn't we play a 4-game series with Florida? Why couldn't we just play or a 3-game series with Florida? Yeah, agreed.
Well, Florida wanted the challenge of High Point, clearly. Man,
they did not meet that challenge.
It's the annual measuring stick series for the Gators to see how they look against High Point.
Yeah, Florida State has had back-to-back perfect weeks. That's nice to know. Florida State as a team doing some things offensively. When you play teams that you're superior to and you're facing pitchers who are not the caliber of pitchers that you're going to face against Wake or Florida or some of these better teams, then you want to get fat, and they have gotten fat. The team now is hitting 310, 431 on base percentage. They're slugging over 500 as a team. Hit a bunch more home runs and doubles, so they're doing some things there, and those numbers are starting to look like the numbers are supposed to look. Yeah. Free agency underway in the NFL. Big news, Tom. Tampa Bay re-signed Cade Otton. Jeez,
oh, thank God.
Damn it, man. Just let him go. He's not a bum. He's just a guy.
He's one of your least favorite below average to above average swing players week to week. Because he can be in a given week. Well, man, that's a hell of a game from Cade Otton. You were so tired of the Cade Otton experience.
I am. He's just.
It also means no Sadiq. Sorry, buddy.
Well, we weren't going to get him anyhow. He broke the all-time record for fastest time by a tight end because he's freak. He's a freak. And I would have loved to have had him in Tampa Bay, but we got too many other needs. Instead, we'll go for lumbering Cade Otton. I don't have as big a problem with Cade Otton when he catches the GD ball. That's Cade's issue. There
were some times last year where, a tight end kind of needs to block every once in a while.
Yeah, no, he's not.
You're not on that level, Cade Otton, that you could be turning down blocks.
Yeah,
if somebody named Kelsey wants to miss a block once in a while, I think they're going to live with it in Kansas City. Cade Otton needs to block.
He does. The Bucks are counting on him to do so now that they've re-signed him. We'll see bigger names out there in free agency, and all throughout the show we'll have updates. I know that Miami decided to bite the bullet with Tua. That's $90-something million they're going to have to wear. They'll do it post-June 1st, so they'll pay $56 to $60 million this year, and then the remaining money the following. So that's how that works.
Malik Willis is now a Miami Dolphin, or will be once this tampering and all the signature comes in. It's 2 years worth of guarantees. So it's a 3-year deal at $60+ million, but 40-some guaranteed, which means that he gets 2 seasons to prove it in Miami. And that's not a cheap contract.
So the Dolphins traded Minkah Fitzpatrick to the Jets. There's the Tua deal. The Falcons are looking at Tua. I'm a Falcons fan. I'm going, no.
Outstanding.
No, what, why?
You can fix him, Stefanski. You can do it.
Why? Pierce returns to the Colts. Kelsey tells the Chiefs he's back for 1 more year. That's not the big news. The big news is that Kenneth Walker III, the Super Bowl MVP, signs with the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. What are you doing, Seattle? He's a really good player.
Well, for Kansas City now, it's offensive line. The good news is they cut Jawan Taylor, which means that when you watch a Chiefs game this year, you won't see a false start on every play go uncalled. That's nice. But
he'll do it somewhere else.
They need some blockers is what they need.
They do. The basketball team, let's get to it, man. I'm proud of that bunch. That is a team that is easy to root for and getting better all the time. A little late. They're like that team. What?
There a bell over there?
Oh, yeah, you're right. The ding-ding, they're definitely going to the ding-ding. You're definitely going to the ding-ding. But I don't like to chide them with the... It seems like that's something you do for a little kid who finally did something right. Like, oh, good job, Johnny. You actually did your math today. I don't want to, they're better than that. They're a problem for people. They're now 17-14, and so they are going to finish the year above 500, and that did not look like a group that was going to do that. It did not look like a group that would rattle off the wins that they have and finish with the ACC record that they have. Now you're just filled with lament. I mean, and here's what I mean by that. You really do realize with great certainty that if you hold on against Virginia and Wake, I mean, we're having a very different conversation. We're talking about a team that has a real good chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Your name is in one of those columns, the Lunardi columns. First 4 out, last 4 in, next 4 out, whatever. You're going to be in that conversation because Cal is, because Virginia Tech is. They're in that conversation. They could slip in or they could miss, and that's where the 8-9 game that we play against Cal this week is huge for the bubble for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're the 9 seed and we're the 8 seed, it kind of was that close, and it tells you that you're not wrong to, in a weird way, feel cheated that we have not won 12 out of our last 13 ACC basketball games. That is absurd.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. And Tom, I talked about it on Friday. I had a funny feeling they were going to come out and smoke SMU. And the reason it's interesting is SMU desperately needed that game. I mean, they were squarely on the bubble, had to have it. And we beat that ass. I mean, you from Jump Street, you're watching that game going, oh, no, the better team is here in Tallahassee. It is home. It is the home team. That they have really moved this thing.
And it kind of started in a loss with SMU. This little wave. It was the first signs that this could be coming because at the half, when we were playing out there, they had just hit a bunch of threes. We looked disinterested defensively, but then the second 20 minutes of that game to the end of this game we played on Saturday, like we just do whatever we want with SMU. We figured it out. I think that game was one of those key points where you look back and you say, yep, the season was kind of on the brink. The first half, Florida State at SMU looked very much the part of that's the 0-5 group. Oh, boy, I'm not so sure. And then from that point forward, buddy, wow, what a turnaround it's been.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a turnaround and good for them. And I think it just, again, it speaks to Luke and this staff to pivot, to transition away from what they wanted to do, recognizing that the group that they had couldn't get it done, that they weren't going to be able to play that style of basketball. They just didn't shoot it well enough. And I think it's an egoless thing, right, to kind of realize, this was a mistake. I thought this would offset some of our weaknesses. Instead, it's shined a light on them. And I'm going to have to change what we're doing. Meanwhile, you've racked up losses. You're sitting 0-5 in the league, and you're going, I sure hope they haven't given up on the season. I mean, these guys are rentals, a lot of them. And they came here expecting to have great success. They're not having that success. You could very easily lose a locker room. He was very critical of them early in the year after certain losses. And I remember thinking, Luke, man, I hate feeling like I'm watching a guy make rookie mistakes and doing things that are going to come back to haunt you in year one and put you behind the 8 ball. You know, when you rip a team as frequently as he was ripping his, you can really lose people, and it worked. And I think it speaks to how genuine he is with them. I mean, I've been to those practices, not all of them, obviously, but I've been to several practices. They have very honest conversations with players. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to be told about it. And everybody gets to hear it. It's all there. But I think that's the exchange, right? Like, look, man, I'm going to be genuine with you. we need you to do this. If you don't, I'll find somebody who will.
I think what helps too, because this was just senior day on Saturday, I think that classification also helped. It's your last crack at it, guys. So when things are spiraling out of control, these aren't first and second year players that he brought in that they just think to themselves, well, I'm going to transfer somewhere else and I'll go get another crack at it at another school next year. I'm going to put this one on ice. Oh man, you're out of eligibility. Do you want good tape for the Euro leagues or wherever it is that you're going to continue playing? Yes or no? Because this tape, you're going to get laughed out of the room. Nobody's going to give you a second look. That might have been something that helped too, is that they were so senior laden that this is it, guys. We've got about 12, 15 more of these games. What do you want to make of them? And they made something special out of it. It's been a really cool thing to watch.
Ira will join us later in the show, as he's wont to do on Mondays. He'll report back about practice. He did find out about some injuries, the update in the timetables. Freshman defensive end Cam Brooks will be back midway through the season. Freshman quarterback Jaden O'Neal will miss the season, and the transfer defensive lineman Jordan Sanders is out for spring, but will be back during the summer. So we've got some information there. Little things trickle in. Also, Quindarius Jones and Jabril Rawls will be limited in spring. That's fine. Just need them to be right for the fall.
Yeah, Rawls specifically. Q could have used this camp because he did get hurt back in the football season.
Mm-hmm.
But Rawls, I wonder if that was part of the deal.
Yeah,
you can take it easy.
Take it easy in spring, buddy. You stay in shape, all right? But that's the latest there. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Hey, Knowles fans, it's Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, proud sponsor of the Jeff Cameron Show. If you feel like the housing market is on a losing streak, I can help you find new momentum and respond. Waiting for mortgage rates to drop could actually cost you more in the long run. When rates fall, home prices and buyer competition go up. That's why I'm helping Knoll Nation to get pre-approved now. So when the perfect home hits the market, you're ready to score before the other team even lines up. Whether you're buying your first home or upgrading your dream home, I'll guide you through every step with passion and preparation. Let's get started today, and you can do that at loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com. You can reach me at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, helping Knowles everywhere find their home field advantage.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs, hot tubs, paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Hey, Knowles Football fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Camera is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Really quick shout out to the friends and family. Our condolences to those of David White, former Florida State basketball player that I had a little bit of knowledge of because I grew up where he did. He's older than me. He played in the 80s for FSU, the late 80s, 88, 89, 90. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are the years. David went to Boca Ciega, by the way, Tom. I was at an Eckerd College basketball camp where David White was, and when I think I was 12 or something like that, maybe 13. I went to Eckerd College's basketball camp every year, and I got to play pickup with him, and he was like a larger-than-life figure, especially to a little kid like me, but he was a legend in St. Pete. Everybody knew David White because he was explosive. I remember thinking he was going to be a superstar. It didn't turn out that he was a superstar, but he was a great high school player. I mean, could soar, Tom, could just jump out of the gym. He was 6'6", 6'7". He could just – I threw him an oop. This was I'll never forget coming across the timeline, basically seeing him streak down this, and it hit that guy. I mean, anywhere near the rim. You didn't have to be any good at all. Just throw it anywhere near the rim, and he would soar. I have another friend named Dexter Rogers who played on the Olympic volleyball team, who played high school basketball and was older than me, and he and David were guys that could just fly. But yeah, it's just sad to hear the news somebody dies that young. So rest in peace to David White. But some of you old timers will remember him. You'll remember David White. I just wanted to acknowledge his passing over the weekend. Saw that late last night and thought, son of a gun. That's sad. He was a great athlete. Cameron, my thoughts on Ricky Fowler? No, didn't have any. He played well there. Good for him.
Brought Forrest Green back into the rotation for the gear on Saturday.
This guy, I see you, Joseph. You're a big fan of Ricky Fowler. All right, cool, man. I'm not going to rain on your parade. If you love Ricky, I'd love to see him be back in contention in majors. I'd love to see him do something again. There was a window in which he finished second at seemingly every major, and he had one of the greatest seasons of all time that will largely be overlooked because he unfortunately just couldn't cash it in and get a win in one of those majors. And it reminds you, Dan Marino talked about this when he went to the Super Bowl so early in his career. You're like, you probably feel like there's going to be another opportunity. And for him, there was not. And it's just, for Ricky that year, that little 3-year window where he was one of the most popular golfers in the world. Obviously, we all knew the Puma deal with the hair and the orange and all the stuff, made millions of dollars, all those things. But when it left him. And Ricky largely remained irrelevant for the bulk of a decade. And every now and then would crop up when he won in Detroit. That was cool just to see him get another win. But ultimately for Ricky, this is one of those cases where you would say, if he somehow late in his career cashed in a major, it changes all the runner-ups. It changes everything about your career.
Yeah, because it's a major plus of players, and there you go. That's Hall of Fame worthy, and it would be cool to see. Got to watch him hit some golf balls for about a half an hour, 40 minutes on Saturday, because he was in one of the better pairings over the weekend. So as the leaders are getting out there, you're just watching the best of the best go to work. And he was in a good groove. He outplayed Victor Hovland yesterday, too, in their final round pairing because I watched their featured coverage for quite some time.
I don't understand why Victor Hovland has rounds like he does. There's
I hurt my soul. I decided since I was on the grounds, I was going to lay a couple of dollars on old Vic. And on Saturday, the way he started, I thought, okay, there it is. And it just didn't materialize.
No, it didn't. It did not. Well, I'll say this. That tournament was a lot of fun, and I wish Daniel could have closed it out. But I got to give all the credit in the world to Akshay, who fired right at pins. I mean, perilously close to the water, just firing right at pins. Good for him. Hey, Daniel making that putt on 18 to force the playoff is a good sign because that was onions.
Yeah, that was onions. And coming off of, I mean, it's been a slow burn there. What happens to you on 16? You're on the wrong side of 17.
Mm-hmm.
The broadcast didn't have much of a problem with it, but, I mean, that's really not a great spot to miss. So everybody expects you to lose the tournament right there and choke it away. You didn't. Would have liked you to have made the putt from the same side of the hole in the playoff. That's a toughie, man, because he was in cruise control. Again, I wasn't out there physically yesterday. I was out there on Saturday, and it was just easy breezy. And the way he started yesterday, you thought, okay, the first fire he had to put out was when he's in the water in the creek. He advances the ball. He makes birdie on the hole where he was in the creek. He's going to be okay. And Akshay ran him down in the back nine. That's what did he shoot, 29 in the back nine, 31? It was some ridiculous number.
He was great. He was just great. And that's a guy coming and getting you. You can't really – I mean, obviously he could have gone a little lower, but Akshay went and got him. He's a good player. That guy is an interesting player. Anybody that comes straight out of high school and forgoes college and takes a risk like that, it was a high-profile move. And I remember at the time, you know, there were people who were very critical, like, oh, good luck, man. The tour's going to eat you alive. Well, it hasn't. He's won multiple times on tour now. You win that tournament, that's a big deal. He fixed his putting woes. He's become really reliable as a putter. And he's one of the better players in the world now.
He's also his own guy. Been watching those warm-ups. He was in his own spot. A lot of the usuals are all lined up together. Fowler and Sahith and Daniel and all the guys that were in the final few pairings were in this grouping right next to each other, about 5 or 6 wide. And then Akshay is just over there on the other side of the range doing his own thing. It paid off. Whatever it is, it clicked for him.
So you did not, I don't suppose, because you were on a little mini vacay, but I wondered, did you see multiple times this weekend how hard Miles Bailey hit the baseball?
I saw the highlights, yes. The one to center field at the near the scissor lift, with the batter's eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's special. And then, a couple of them to right field as well.
He is strong.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
I got it confirmed from his dad that he had lost. I said, when I went out there at camp that he looked like he had lost his baby fat. So I ran into his father and he said, yeah, he's down from 250 whatever to 240, 245 or whatever. But it's just 245 of pure badassery. That dude is going to be a very, very high draft pick. And the thing is, I don't take it lightly when you have a superstar player, and he's a star in college baseball. He is. I mean, when you get big guys who hit the ball like that and hover over the plate the way he does, it's very intimidating. People are drawn to that. He's also really gotten much better. He's not that he was ever bad, but he's a legit good first baseman now. He makes plays over there defensively.
A bunch of them.
He makes a bunch of plays over there.
Weird hops. Yeah, he can go elevate too. That's the thing is sometimes a lot of those guys, they can't defend anything over their head. If it's in front of them or if it's at the shoulders, it might be okay. Man, he's got range. That's some legit range. That's good for his stock. The bat is already going to have incredible stock, but that's good to see.
Well, the thing I am impressed by is obviously when you have a freshman campaign as successful as his, you're going to come into this season with huge expectations, both for yourself, but also from the outside. Everybody knows that you're a superstar in the making. You're larger than life, quite literally. You had all that power as a freshman. You made those adjustments. You played in big stages and came through, became the most reliable hitter at the end of the year that we had in the lineup. He was a guy that you wanted at the plate over some other veteran players late in the year. But with that, you can put an awful lot of pressure on yourself. They knew they were going to have, they were probably going to take a back seat to the power that the previous two teams had shown. that they were going to have to win a little bit differently. But he would have to be that guy. And that's a lot when you step into the box to not miss the one pitch you're going to get per at bat, because they ain't going to get many. And, you worry about it anytime he goes into a mini slump. There's mini slumps every now and again. Oh, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. There's nobody behind you right now that we can trust. Don't worry. Don't force it. But he's really largely been able to ignore that pressure and ignore those situations. And now he's just really comfortable and dominant.
That's also why I have hope for the bats. I mean, I know that they're doing well lately, but that Miles Bailey was a bottom half of the order bat who was a bonus last season. That's how it started. Now, he was heralded and there were expectations, but it was kind of a bonus classification. But you're right. By the time we're out in Corvallis, the only thing you're thinking is, can we get him up to the plate? Can we get Miles? Not Lodis, because Lodis was struggling terribly down the stretch. And Max was uneven too. But just before that ACC tournament where he hit a couple of moon balls, it was get Miles to the plate. Something good is going to happen. And again, this is one of those weeks where for the entire lineup, it'll be a good test. But now you're going to see better pitching this week. You're only going to get one pitch or two a game unless they have to give in and the bags are loaded or something along those lines. Can you continue to do it, being the guy and the guy that they want to stay away from?
5-game sweep for the week. It's rare you play 5. They did. They went 5-0. You had the one really close game against Jacksonville. But, Tom, 5 games, 66 runs. It's laying it on the table. That is doing some things right there. We'll see if the bats stay hot. Florida obviously did not put their best foot forward against High Point and had to rally late yesterday to come back and win that game, gave up 10 runs. You'd love to believe that means things bode well for you, but we'll see. It's baseball. It's one game and anything can happen.
We're going down there. I'm setting the over-under at 8.5 pitching changes for O'Sullivan because that's the way these games have gone ever since they've gone to the midweek. Specifically, he is insane with the substitution patterns.
I wonder if Florida fans, when it's one of your own, you oftentimes, at least outwardly to the public, to people that are not Gators, let's say, in this instance, you don't like to admit things about your guys to rival fans. I wonder if O'Sullivan's one of those rare guys that Florida fans sitting across from you would go, yeah, we hate him. Think about the success he's had, and he is the most detestable human being. Just looking at him, you get kind of sick to your stomach.
There's been a Band-Aid effect going on the last few years because they've had some slow and awful starts. One of the years they bounced all the way back and obviously made it to the World Series. And if they weren't a part of the Final Four the year that we were, but they were. Okay. So you can't get rid of them.
No, he keeps finding ways after they have mediocre seasons, then they get hot.
And I think that would be the feeling down there. I get the sense that they would be at peace if this thing were to careen this year into the side of the mountain and they reboot the program. Yeah, I think that's been that way for quite some time, actually.
He's just completely unlikable. Never mind that stuff off the field that people finally figured out. And
they saw the Coastal thing last year, too, and that's a little bit more baseball off the field-ish than off the field.
It's hideous, though. I mean, there's so many things that he's done. And even within the games, when you watch him, you're like, oh, buddy. You really are the most unlikable coach in any sport, anywhere. You're impossible. I mean, you root for balls to go flying off of bats into the side of his face when you watch games, or at least I do. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee City Commission is voting this week on engulfed in flames as a result. At this time, it is unclear why the vehicle left the road. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 83. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 64. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with fog in spots. Highs level out around 86 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 81 degrees.
This is Ross Chastain, NASCAR driver and your Fresh from Florida farmer. As America marks 250 years, we celebrate the traditions that have sustained us, especially the dedication of Florida's farmers. For generations, their work has been sewn into our nation's story and cultivated with care, growing the food we serve our families. When you shop for locally grown fruits and vegetables, look for the Fresh from Florida logo. You know that our name is on it because we stand behind it. Fresh from Florida. Trust is grown here.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood. Oh, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But and they still try to break the rules, right? Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life. And the best game you ever played was that game. Never been a better one. Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff? I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know how I love the draft, and I love the combine, and I love the build up to whatever the front office structure you follow is in terms of projecting the draft and where we're probably going to do something this year for the draft. We've been talking about it, but I love this day too. This is a fun day. The free agency is fun, and they're getting better at this because the trades and the things that happen now, they're much more willing to do it. I think people began to figure out something I've always thought, which is first round picks matter. They're a big deal. But if I have an opportunity to trade my first round pick for a player who's, 23, 24 years old, and I know can flat out play, I've witnessed him be a Pro Bowl type player like the Rams did with the trade that they made. Like, give up your first round pick for a guy that you know is a bona fide plus starter in the league. Now, where it gets tricky is when you start talking about age and where they're at in their contract. Are they in the final year of a rookie deal? Are you taking on an awful lot of money? But I get there's nuance to all this, but sometimes it's just as simple as, wait a minute, I can have a bona fide superstar for a 24, 25-year-old, and all I got to do is give you my 18th pick overall? Yeah, man, here you go.
I think part of it is the exponential growth of the cap itself. In the last 12 years, it's more than doubled.
Mm-hmm.
In 2014, the cap was around $130 million. It's now over $300 million. And I understand that means the average salary goes up along with it, but I don't think it's pacing as fast as the cap is going up. It's needing to catch up, which means that, yeah, you can go get that star player, and maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that draft pick is so cheap. The labor cost is so cheap. That is why it's incredibly valuable. But right now, I think there's a little bit more in real dollars that you might have to spend in order to arrive to the cap. So you can make these trades. If for whatever reason, I think if the salary cap in the next 10 years were to slow and not grow at the rate it's growing right now, which is insane, then maybe draft pick value would go back up. But yeah, teams right now are swinging forward. And you're seeing, yes, trades. For example, Indianapolis today. They signed Alec Pierce. They got the receiver they wanted locked up, so Daniel Jones and Pierce are back. And then they turned right around and traded Michael Pittman Jr. to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is interesting.
Well, while we're talking about it, a big one just happened, and that is the free agent center Tyler Lindenbaum, who just signed with the Raiders. The Raiders go out and get their big-time center, which they desperately needed. They'll give him a 3-year, $81 million deal that includes $60 million guaranteed.
Wow, that's great money for a center.
Highest paid interior offensive lineman in the game. It's a lot of money. It's also, he's a really good player, and it is a position of need.
So they're going to draft a couple OL, get their quarterback. They have a veteran anchor of the offensive line starting to come together for him.
Yeah, just have to hope the quarterback's the real deal, man. And that's so hard. Just like, man, I love that kid, but I don't know.
The good news is if he isn't, you're hampered for 1 year, 2. You're not hampered like the Dolphins, who against the cap this year are going to be 125, 130 between Malik Willis and Tua, who they're cutting. It's not that bad anymore. Like Josh Rosen was cut by the Cardinals within 3 weeks, it felt like. Well, nope, this ain't going to work.
You would think anybody that gets his cut as early in his career as he did, that you would have figured this out in the interview. Like there would have been red flags everywhere during the interview. Like if you did your due diligence, because otherwise, how did it present itself that quick? I mean, they barely were into his career. They're like, yep, nope, you got to go.
Johnny Manziel lasted longer in Cleveland than Rosen did in Arizona.
We first guessed all the problems he was going to have. Man, it's strange to me sometimes when you see something like that play out. You're like, what? How in the world did you not figure this out? I mean, you pay front office a lot of money and you investigate these guys. They know everything about these players usually. I mean, they're a little too thorough over the years, calling out people's players and their mamas for being hookers and the like. Good God, man.
What's the question with Mendoza? Is it the arm strength? What is it?
Yeah, didn't he just feel like a really good college player?
He did. But
he felt like a really good, but we've long since raised our palms to the sky and said, who knows anymore, man? There are guys in college who show no signs of being an elite or upper crust NFL player and go on to do it. At quarterback in particular, it happens where you're just like, what? How in the world did that happen? And then there are guys that look like can't miss prospects that dominate the sport, that are physically as gifted as you could ever want, and get to the league and can't play. So I'm done saying definitively, these feelings that I get about quarterbacks. I'll give you that. I'm not real sure he can play, but I'm not going to go so far as to say he cannot play. I've learned my lesson.
Well, if he takes the checkdowns more, that was the thing that Miami sagged against, and then finally he started to use them in that game.
I love his toughness. He is tough.
He makes decisions quickly too. That's the thing that I think is for the NFL, especially if your offensive line is going to have some young players on it. You got an anchor now in your center, but you're going to have to make quick decisions. I think he's game to do that. I just wonder if defenses are going to respect his arm down the field or not. We'll see.
Justin, to answer your question, no, practices are closed. We're not getting access to practice. This is a classic case of, once they take something away, they're not giving it back. Typically. I don't. Now, look, when I say they're closed, they're doing post-practice interviews. I mean, you can talk to Mike post-practice and some of the other coaches and things like that. It rotates, right? I saw that schedule, but I'm not going to be over there, so it didn't concern me.
It's Pads Friday. I mean, that's the report that you're going to really key in on, and that's actually a good day for us in the media with this policy because we get access to at least give you some AV. So we're going to get some photos, some video from practice on Friday when they're done in the pads.
It's funny about that. I don't know over the years. I mean, there have been moments occasionally where you just by kind of looking a guy on the hoof, you'll say, oh, all right, that plays. But for the most part, I think people, they want to see what guys look like. They want to know what their players represent. Is that guy, is he big enough, strong enough? Just to the naked eye, does he look like he can play? Yeah, I get that. We all kind of want that, but we've also learned our lesson that seeing that but not seeing practice isn't going to suffice. It's all we've got. We'll provide it, but it doesn't mean that they will or will not succeed.
No, but what it does do is it gives you an idea of whether they could this year. For example, freshmen. When you saw the Desirs, that looked different
That did
for
look
a true
different.
freshman,
Yes.
especially coming out of high school or 3 stars. You're like, whoa, okay, that body type
I
projects
agree with
very
you
well.
there. I agree with you. There are body types that you think project well. There's muscle density and things like that where you go, okay, he looks like he can handle the rigors of the game. Yeah.
Also, last year we did a mashup of some of the B-roll we could create, the footage from practice, and some of the photos that were taken. Matt Lasser took a bunch of those as they were walking from the parking lot into the facility. And it was well viewed, I think, because also football, you don't know what these guys look like often. They got the helmets on. You want to know what these players look like just as people. And so it does okay for that first go-around, and that's what we expect to have on Friday, which I think it's in like the 9 a.m. hour, that we're going to have the access to go shoot and take a look at the sounds, too. Even if it's just their walkthrough periods like Jimbo used to give us, you just wonder, does it sound any different now that Gus Malzahn's influence is not there anymore? Does it sound a little bit like it used to when practices were open and Mike was your offensive coordinator and play caller?
I tend to look, you go back to some of those dominant teams that we had. You could look at the defensive line and say, they're going to stop the run. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't do it with offensive linemen because they're all huge. If you can't watch them practice, you can't watch them bend, you don't see their feet, it doesn't do you any good. They're all huge. So, but defensive linemen, a lot of times I want to see, do you just have the girth? Are you just a big dude? I'm going to assume you can play with some leverage. You wouldn't have gotten recruited here. But you just look at Darrell Jackson and you're like, okay, now he probably should have been better sooner, but just looking at him, you knew, that's different. That most human beings don't look like that. That's going to be a problem for people.
Really could have helped that 23 squad because he would have been the next wave. He wouldn't have been the starter. It would have been like, are you kidding me? I'm gassed. Fisk is finally off the field, and this Joker's coming in right now. Would have been very nice in that situation. This year you're thin, so you need Juju to be the guy that photographically on Friday would impress, or physically in person if you go, to say, okay.
He has to be a monster because that's what's going to help the Desir twins. Look, with no Darrell in there, this becomes a very different looking season for them if they don't have a physical presence on the interior like they had a year ago with Darrell. So Wynn has to be that. You're right. Juju's got to be a man. He played? He made 1 tackle last year because he was hurt.
The one guy I do want to see is Ashton Daniels, not for the obvious reason, but because Dominic Robinson was certain. He's like, 6'2" is what Auburn listed him as. He's like, man, I stood next to him. I think he's more like 6'3". Like he profiles taller. He's usually 6'2" in the program means you're kind of 6 feet. In the cleats.
Yeah.
They're going to get you on the cleats and concrete, and that's when they're going to measure at 6'2". He's like, I think he's a little bit larger. Ashton also put on a little bit of weight, too. He's in the 230 range, according to his listing. So I just want to see what that looks like because last year, of course, you were diminutive at the position. How tall is he relative to the line? Do you look at him and say, oh, yeah, over the middle of the field is not going to be a problem? I think that's the case. The All-22 says that that's the case, but it just would be nice to see.
Well, the biggest thing with him that we're going to have to see is, is he able to get the ball down the field? I mean, he doesn't have a big arm, and that's been a problem. He's also not been terribly accurate. So does he take yet another step forward? He has played a lot of football. There shouldn't be anything that intimidates or wows him. He's played a ton of football, and he hasn't always been very good at it. But he's been in situations, big situations. That game against Alabama is as big as it gets when you're at Auburn.
Yeah, and the game looked like it slowed down for him last year relative to the Stanford stuff you watched, which you go, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't good.
But Mike even said it today. This is his 4th offense. I mean, it's also you're not set up to succeed when you've had 4 offenses in 4 or 5 years of playing football. It's much like the NFL thing where what's the situation you're drafted into? Are they going to continually change coordinators? Because if so, Jason Campbell, you might have some nice moments, but it's really hard to bank on anything because you're getting asked to look in different places and have different principles each year.
Certainly helps that he's smart.
Yeah.
It certainly helps that he's a smart-ass kid.
Stanford does yet to do what Andrew Luck wants them to do.
Yeah, that's right. You still have to be smart to go to Stanford.
Really smart.
You still got to be smart to go to Stanford. Brett says, as a fan, I wish practice was open, but I also, as a fan, there's nothing I could see that would give me real hope. After the last 2 years, it's a show me on Saturday in September. Till then, yeah, no, that's the 100% correct, Brett. There's not a lot we could see in practice right now that would get you giddy or change your opinion of Mike or change your opinion of where the program is. No, I don't think there's a single fan that could go out there. You could have complete access, and they could look like world beaters, and you go, we'll see. We're playing each other. We've learned our lesson.
The only thing I could take from today so far, it's the first day. They're not in real pads.
No, today you have no reason to be out there today.
It's the relaxation in Mike's voice when talking about the offense because he's got his hands on it again. That's only natural. I don't think it doesn't guarantee anything for what happens in the fall, but you can hear when he's asked about the offense, there isn't that barrier as he speaks about the quarterback and the line and the battles and all those things. That's at least a sign that he is dialed in and he's happy to have his hands on the machine again.
I detected that at the press conference at the luncheon. The only thing I want to see from Mike, and this is to Brett's point, I want to see the guy that when we were outmanned was so innovative. He did his best coaching, not in the undefeated season. Oh, no, sir. I didn't think that was a very good version of Mike, actually. We won in part in spite of him that year. The offense,
the talent was too good.
Oh, especially on defense. But yeah, the talent was. But when we didn't have that talent, Mike did a good job of really kind of, scheming things open, creating extra holes, doing that stuff in the run game that you hadn't seen. Sometimes it was really early in games where we would talk about the script and how good he was with the script. But that all went away over time. He really kind of lost his Midas touch. And I want to know if desperation breeds that again, where he understands, look, man, you did not get a big-time free agent quarterback. You got a guy that's probably the lowest paid Power 4 quarterback in the transfer portal, I would think. You don't have, you got a star and Deuce, but you don't have a lot of star power there. You're going to have to be innovative. Hour number 2, fourth cup. You stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend, Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Your business doesn't stop, and neither does IOI's. From the trusted owners of Mac & More Systems, IOI's offers 24/7 IT support, cybersecurity monitoring, HIPAA and compliance consulting, cloud data management, phone systems, and full network design and security. For healthcare, finance, legal industries, IOI specializes in keeping sensitive industries protected and connected. Local service, major protection. Visit IOIs.com today and discover why smart businesses trust IOIs.
Introducing the all-new sixth-man blend from Grassroots Coffee, the coffee crafted for those who bring the energy, heartbeat, and passion for Seminoles basketball.
Every bag of Grassroots Coffee's bold and smooth six-man blend not only tastes amazing with nutty and chocolate notes that hit just right, but every sale directly supports the FSU men's basketball team as they battle on the court.
Grassroots Coffee is locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved. Keeps us connected to the team, the university, and our community for those of us who bleed garnet and gold.
So whether you're hitting the gym before sunrise, gathering with friends before tip-off, powering through the daily routine, or just serving customers at your business, raise your mug, fuel the team, and stay connected with Grassroots Coffee's six-man blend, available exclusively at grassrootscoffee.com.
Grassroots Coffee, made for everyone, loved everywhere.
We're ready to rock and roll at the 2026 Florida Lineman Competition. Join us at Appalachia Regional Park in Tallahassee on March 14th and cheer on your hometown heroes. Line crews from across Florida will compete in exciting events that showcase the skill, teamwork, and training it takes to keep our communities powered. Bring the whole family and find all the details at calgov.com. See you at the Florida Lineman Competition.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Jacksonville Jaguars clearing some cap space in front of Free Murray. They're going to clear about $10 million off the cap. Lightning play a wild one yesterday against the Buffalo Sabres, but Sabres that end up winning by an 8-7 score as the Lightning have lost 5 of their last 6. Nikita Kucherov does have 2 goals and an assist. It was not enough. Lightning will return to action coming up tomorrow when they host Columbus. That's also when the Panthers are next going to be in action. They are set to play host to Detroit, who they beat on Friday by a 3-1 score. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The greatest insult the Colonel ever suffered was being served a wrap that was just a snack by a friend. So he took 2 crispy tenders, lettuce, tomatoes, and pepper mayo, and wrapped them in a soft tortilla. It wasn't a snack, it was a meal. He called it a twister, and never called that friend again. The Colonel lived, so we could chicken. The Twister. Now back at KFC, classic or with bacon. Also try it spicy. It's finger-licking good.
Prices and participation may vary.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/4 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
From the team behind Mac and More Systems comes IOWise, Tallahassee's trusted source for IT services. Protect your business with 24/7 cybersecurity, managed IT support, cloud storage solutions, network design, voice over IP phone systems, expert tech counseling, and more. Whether your business is growing fast or just getting started, IOWise keeps your systems running smoothly and securely. Local service, big solutions. Visit iowise.com today and work wiser with IOWise.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-134. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
For giggles, Tommy, I just took Florida State to win the ACC tournament.
What was the number? I'm going to guess plus 725.
Plus 10,000.
Plus 10,000?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was way off.
You were.
Got to run to the window.
Yeah, I just did. I mean, that's pizza money that we'll pay for a lot. A trip to Europe is what that is.
Of course it would be Europe. Couldn't be the Grand Canyon. Couldn't be Hot Springs.
I've been to most of the places in this country. I'm going back.
Could have been El Paso.
It would definitely not be El Paso, buddy. If we beat Duke, I'm going to start getting very nervous because the bet I just made is a trip to Europe. We're going we're like the family. We're going.
Yeah, I know.
We're going. Yeah, we're going.
I'd be like, that'd be strange. Hey, Tom, congratulations. You're going to Europe with me. Florida State Hoops won the ACC.
No, I didn't mean it that. I'm just saying like this.
Yeah.
It would be great. So you make sure you hit that during the break. Get you.
Save some of those winnings. I will hit it during the break. Yeah, I will as well, so that we can get good pizza for the 7-win pizza party this year.
That would be a hell of a pizza party. We could eat for weeks if this hits. I had a good week in the golf, man. Really good week in the golf, and like every one of my little ventures there, I had a little bit of love for Batia. I had love for Ludwig, as you guys know. I had a good week. That was nice. The only guy that really let me down. Well, damn it, Rory withdrew, and then
he was in fine shape.
He was playing well, and then damn it, he withdrew. But nothing you can do about that. He got hurt, and then. The only other one was I think Knapp would have played well here. I don't know what happened. He withdrew as well. I don't know, just sick or what. But, man, that would have been the swing. I would have been like, go film Knapp's swing while you're there because it's so gorgeous.
That would have been nice to see. I got to see Scotty make a birdie on 13 on Saturday. Made it look effortless from the left-hand rough.
He had a rough go.
He did. He's kind of on the struggle bus a little bit.
Well, it's just you can't sustain the level of excellence that he has sustained. I mean,
until he wins the Players by 5 this week.
And then you're like, oh, okay, that's the end of that struggle. Hi, Jinx, I see you. Thanks so much for the super sticker. He wants to know any updates or revisions to Doak this offseason. Do we dare dream of the return of the Spirit Spear in the corner? I love the Spirit Spear, man. That's my time back in the day. My dad started taking me to games way back, and that Spirit Spear was so cool. I thought, when you're little, you're like, we're causing that to light up. We weren't, but I believed it. I would scream my head off.
You can slap a tasteful corporate logo on the Spirit Spear.
We need tasteful corporate logos on the foreheads of coaches and players at this point. We need to raise some cash around these parts. We got people we got to fire, people we've got to dismiss. We've got conferences we got to leave. We got a lot
said
going
some
on.
Great things on the field after that win over SMU. I just couldn't ignore the Kalshi tattoo on his forehead.
I won some money on Kalshi this weekend too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Like in the round, I forgot I hadn't bet on Kalshi, so I sprinkled it on Batia. Like early because he was playing so well. It's like, oh, okay, don't mind if I do. Forgot that I did it, and then got the notice from Kalshi that I won. I was like, oh, that's right, I did. Then I realized I had bets on the Academy Awards and all kinds of things.
You did?
I do, yeah. I'm still waiting. The Academy Awards haven't happened, so yeah, I got train dreams for winning best cinematography, and so we'll see. I'm looking forward to it.
What a name.
Train Dreams. It's a great movie. Anyhow, so we'll
Bobby Baklava. That's what he had after he got whacked.
Yeah, that's right. The Players Championship. Man, we got an offer. I got to shout out this guy. I haven't reached out to him, Tom.
He said he probably wanted to keep it quiet in the email. So
okay, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say his name, but a Seminole who works over there reached out to us, knows we're avid golfers, wanted to know if we want to come on over on his dime. He had some tickets for it. I can't do it. I can't get there this week, unfortunately, and I really wouldn't mind doing it. That would be a lot of fun. But I can't do it. So that's the way that's going to work. And it sucks because I love that tournament. I love that they moved it to March because it used to be hot as balls. That was the worst. Going over there, it was devastating hot.
Get ready. It's going back, I think.
I don't want it to, but I think you're right. And that's a toughie. I saw grown-ass men just falling out. Now, there might have been beer involved, but it would be like 90 and humid over there back in the day. You're walking around going, whoo, buddy, got to hydrate. For every beer that I had, I'd have 2 bottles of water. It was that bad. But it's still going to be warm, but it won't be like it used to be.
The one thing I'll say is because of the delay, they went all the way to dusk on Saturday. Left by the time that Berger was on, maybe 13 or 14. So you're just not going to follow those crowds. Then you're trapped. They could not help themselves at the end. Well, it's really a lot darker than you think it is.
No, they can't help it.
Buddy,
I know.
It was perfectly fine outside.
It's not dark.
Having played Twilight rounds with you, we're about to play a lot more of them thanks to the hour change.
And we've played when it's downright dark outside.
You can see everything.
The players wouldn't keep playing with all the money that's on the line if they couldn't see.
Plus, the greens themselves look like pool decks. Yeah. They were bright. They were glow in the dark bright.
Yeah.
But they kept saying it, and I'm sitting on a covered patio a stone's throw away from the action. Man, it's plenty bright out here. Will you stop making excuses for these guys?
No word, by the way, hijinks on whether or not there's going to be an addition or anything else that I'm aware of. Ira's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. I can ask him because he's usually on top of those kinds of things. So we'll find out whether or not.
He was ahead of the game on, is the Wi-Fi going to be fixed? And oddly enough, he was the one who led the charge to say, guys, don't expect anything from the Wi-Fi.
But it was better.
It better this year?
It was better, yeah. At least it was to me.
Well, when you slice off 15 to 20% of the capacity, I suppose that helps the circuits.
I thought it was better. I don't know about everybody else, but I had good Wi-Fi. Now,
if you hear classical music in the lobby, your Wi-Fi is going to be good. So, yeah, that's your game day experience.
Yeah, I've got a good game day experience, thanks to a friend. But, the shrimp was good too, Tom. There was a lot of good things going on game day. Just the play on the field wasn't up to par. That's the whole deal. I don't know if there is or not. I will say, having been over there on campus for Friday, and I didn't mention this, but for all of the hullabaloo about the money Florida State spent in these, ventures, facilities, and the like, boy, is it impressive. I mean, when you marry what they've done with the football-only facility, with the changes to Doak. I know, listen, that's a controversial thing. People get pissed off. There are a lot of really diehard Noles who had season tickets forever, and some of them were displaced, and they're angry every time I talk about the stadium. Look, I get it. I'm not, this isn't the discussion. I'm talking about aesthetically. Florida State is impressive when you go over there. When you look at the facilities, the football-related facilities, you go, whew, this is something. I mean, you're wowed. It's, once again, abundantly clear when you're over there, if it wasn't already, but it's definitely so now. They are all in on football. They've got to have this thing be a lot better. And whenever I get down in the dumps about where Florida State football's at currently, because it's not where it needs to be, we all know that. It's not even close. I think to myself, you know what? They're just not going to let this fail. It's one of those too big to fail things. You can't have it. I mean, they've put $400+ million into it. I mean, you can't have it fail. So I get worried because people will say, well, what do you think? What if he sucks again this year? Are they going to fire him? That's the number one question we get. Anywhere I go. Anywhere I go. I could be anywhere.
What does the record have to be is the question, that is a loaded-ass question. What does the record have to be? To what? Well, I mean, to make a change.
It's the number one question I get asked. I don't get asked about personnel. I don't get asked about, the coordinators. I don't get asked about certain players. I get asked, what's it going to take? Will they fire him if we're not good? And then I always say, define your terms. What do you think is not good? Because everybody answers that question differently. Somebody might say, this is Florida effing State. You're not out here trying to win 6-7 games. It's Florida State. If all you do is win 6 or 7 games, you should be fired.
But yes, we are. That's what we are trying to do.
But that's others will say, well, this isn't ideal, but given what the last 2 seasons were, given the difficulty of the schedule, and it is a very difficult schedule, if you can win 7 games, people will answer it that way. Now, you know where I stand on all this. I've made it abundantly clear. I would have moved on already. He would have never gone 5-7 because after 2-10, he wouldn't have been here. But that's me. And I don't know what the administration is thinking about it. I don't know what the magic number is, if they even have one. Obviously, but I back to my point. Long term, they can't let it fail because they have too much wrapped up in this. You're doubling and tripling down when you spend all of that money on facilities and upgrades to your stadium, and you build that monstrosity that is the football-only facility. That thing's huge. It's massive.
Yeah, honestly, when you looked at it before anything was erected, that area where the parking spaces were, the extra spots for the students and the faculty, we go over there before practice, and if we got there early enough, we get those spots. But it's cramped as a parking lot.
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah, it was terrible.
So you don't think that there's actually that much room there. But a building is very different than a parking lot in terms of scope and size. Once the building's there, you go, holy, they had a ton of space, and they used a lot of it.
It's very impressive. It's very impressive. If having to wow recruits makes any sort of a difference based on facilities, then I think Florida State's in a really good spot. Of course, I don't know that it necessarily does. Can't hurt to have those kinds of amenities. Can't hurt to have. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but if you go look at Mr. Otto's Instagram or Twitter account, he's already artistic. He wants to be a filmmaker, and he's talented. And it's fun and we've enjoyed our talk with him. I want to have him back again this year. But he takes to filming everywhere he goes over there in that facility. And, that is like an NFL lap of luxury type place. It's you want for nothing. Mike did say, while we're on the subject, and I don't think this is hot air. I think he's right. I think it's probably true. And this too can't hurt. He thinks players are spending more time together in and around the facility because of the amenities that are there and the state-of-the-art nature of that. And guys want to be around it. They want to be, and consequently they're around each other more. I think that's probably true. If you had access to everything that's in there, in terms of film breakdown, obviously the equipment, the weight room, all that stuff, it's state-of-the-art. But you also have, there's a lot of fun stuff for them to do there too. It's pretty badass.
Well, that's where you need to be greater than the sum of your parts this year in order to leave a lasting impression, the way that the basketball program is leaving a lasting impression on this fan base. You're lesser than at Florida State in basketball. We all understand this. The talent, when you look at the NBA draft board, Leonard had it going for a couple of years. This ain't going to be one of those where you have 3 and 4 guys get drafted in the 2 rounds of the NBA selections this summer. And yet, this team kind of feels like one of my favorite football teams the last 20 years, which is the 2010 Noles. That team didn't have a ton relative to the expectations of what we were going to do with Jimbo in 12, 13, 14, how good those teams were from the NFL standpoint. But 10 had a lot of heart, man. 10 would hit you every week. That team was fun. And Luke has landed that type of group in hoops where it's caught people's attention. And unfortunately, by the time they're crescendoing, say for some magical work being done this week in Charlotte, it's going to be over. And that's a total bummer. I wish we could watch them play for another 2 more months. It would be so much fun to see them continue on their journey. Football has an opportunity to do that. We can always pull back and look at the situation and say, I can't believe that I'm satisfied or I feel satisfied with a group that's winning 8 games or 9. But they do have that opportunity to be that type of a group that makes us real proud. And it all starts with whatever habits you can build in that facility or around each other or circle the wagons and be defiant about it, whatever it is. But that's what this team is going to have to be.
If they win 9 games, I'll be stunned. Absolutely stunned.
And while that's not the standard at Florida State, you would love that group. You'd be like, man, that group found a way to win 9 football games? Okay. That's what we're shooting for this year.
Well, right. I mean, I don't think there are many people from the outside that would tell you that they think Florida State can win 9 games. No, that's going to have to be in the locker room kind of belief, because ain't nobody observing what this program's been the last 2 years and looking at the transfer portal and looking at recruiting classes and looking at the personnel. Nobody looks at that schedule on the heels of those 2 seasons and says, yeah, they're going to win 9 games. Come on, man. That would be stunning. And yet, if it happened, I would be angry that we would be over the moon about 9-3. Listen, there's no doubt he wouldn't be fired if he wins 9 games. There's 0 chance he's getting fired.
Well, that's a better conflicted feeling than the one we currently have, which is, holy cow. How much can we still endure? How much do we have yet to endure before you get a fresh start? I'd rather take the other one, which is they won 9 games. Okay. All right. Well, let's take that momentum and do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, Back to Luke for a second, because we talk about how lovable that team is, and they are. The fans love that team. They showed a lot of heart. Took a while, because once you bury yourself the way they did, it's hard to get them back. But people came back. The fan base is locked in on this team, and they really like this team, and it's for good reason. But it was really cool to hear Luke talk about his team after this game, and credit to the seniors, and he gave so much love to various players in the post game. Doesn't think that he would trade out his point guard, Robert McRae, for any other in the ACC. Said that. I'm like, well, I don't know about that, Luke, but okay.
Well, remember, he backed him during some of the really hard nights.
I would, but I appreciate your love of your guy. But I get where he was coming from. And he went on to say he was so happy for those seniors, wants to keep it rolling. Hopefully the momentum carries over. Hell yeah. I'd like to go to Paris. So let's get it done, Knowles. I've sprinkled the pizza money on you. Win the ACC tournament. You know who else did? Chris Felica just posted it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jumped on the Knowles, did he?
He said, I'll do it.
Well, I mean, again, just think about it. We feel a 10-3 finish, remarkable as it is, easily could have been, borderline should have been 12-1 in your last 13 games.
Yeah, man.
12-1? And you're kind of not crazy to think that you could have gone 12-1? That's wild, but it's true.
You're not crazy at all. You could have beat Virginia. Obviously, that kid got hot and made everything. But the Wake game, you just pissed away. So even if you just say that they should have gone 11-2.
Sure. Well, I mean, in the Virginia game, you didn't score a basket from the field in the final 8 minutes?
Yeah, that was 6 or 8 minutes.
Absurd,
it was ridiculous, yeah. But I kind of feel like Virginia took that game. The Wake game just I'm still mad about it. That's just tough to watch.
But somehow lost in an unfathomably low start to Luke's career, you kind of created a standard of, I don't know, being spoiled.
Well,
it's just a weird valley and peak situation this year. It's the ultimate of both.
You go 10-8 in the league in your first year, makeshift, fly-by-night, try to put together a staff and a team, and you have a winning record in the league, and you're 17-14, so you had a winning record, period. It certainly did not look like it was headed that way at all. I thought we were just going to chalk this up to year one, difficult set of circumstances. Now you're right. I don't think there's a Florida State fan when next year's season tips off that won't be giddy to see what the team can become. Now it's going to be a challenge because, again, they've still got to go out in the portal and get some veteran players in here. You cannot expect, I don't care how talented they are, and they are, you can't expect 4 freshmen to come in here and carry you to the NCAA tournament. It's happened. Teams have done that, but it's really hard to do because in the modern game of basketball, people are foregoing these freshmen and they're going after quantifiable grown-ass men who have done it other places. Kentucky's roster is filled with, you got 20, Michigan, bunch of grown-ass NBA players.
Yeah, they don't have time for you to figure it out.
No, right.
Well, that also leads to the question, which is, how's he going to schedule next year?
I'd dial it back, Luke. But I don't know that he will.
It's the psychology. Bold. He is bold, And it worked out in a way this year. It was very close to nuclear option bad.
You could also argue they'd be in the tournament if he hadn't done it. But again, I know what the counter is. Ira and I talked about this with Corey. It's true. Like, well, you can't know that they would have gone on this streak had they not been tested the way that they were, right?
Correct. Forged through the fire, man.
Mhm.
And I think that's what he would argue. It's just that when you have a bunch of young players, this group that he just had a bunch of seniors and veterans. So I think he thought because of their age, they could perhaps handle that challenge a little bit better. But when you have a lot of young players you're leaning on, do you really want to throw at them Final Four participants left and right to start their careers? It'd be fascinating. He might do it, but I'll wonder if he might sprinkle in a couple of high points.
As we sit here today, by the way, Etsu tonight at 7 o'clock to get to the dance. Come on, baby. Come on, Etsu. As a side note, as we sit here today, I watched a lot of college basketball this year.
Yeah, you did.
I'll tell you, Arizona, Duke, Michigan, and Florida are the 4 teams that I think can win the tournament. Maybe Michigan State if they get hot. They got a very good team when they're right. But those are the 4. I mean, it pisses me off. Florida is elite. You watch Florida now. With UConn stumbling, they're going to get a 1. They're going to be on the 1 line. Sons of bitches could do it again. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, and today I want to talk straight with you about debt, especially high interest rate credit cards, and why you shouldn't just sit there and hope the situation will fix itself. Nationwide, the average credit card interest rate is hovering around 21% or higher. The total revolving credit card debt in the U.S. is over $1 trillion and rising. If you're carrying a credit card balance, you're likely paying hundreds of dollars each month just in interest, without even touching your principal. But here's the good news. You can act. What I help folks do is refinance their home or use a home loan strategy to consolidate high interest debt into something with a much lower interest rate and one payment. It puts you in control. So if you own a home or you're buying one, let's talk about turning your house into a tool so you can stop the credit card interest trap and you can stop feeling like you're paying lots without making progress. Go to loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com, and let's get you on a smarter financial path and get out of the high interest grind.
Hot Wheels fans, are you ready? The world's biggest Hot Wheels Monster Truck Show is coming to your town. Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live, Glow and Fire. See the world famous Bigfoot, Tiger Shark, Bone Shaker, and the premiere of Rhino-Mite. Epic monster truck stunts, a no-handed freestyle motocross front flip, a giant fire-breathing robot, and more wows than ever before. Meet the monster trucks up close at the all-new pre-show party. Coming April 11th and 12th to Donald L. Tucker Civic Center in Tallahassee. Get tickets now.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal.
This is G. Deckeroff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45 years later, Garnet & Gold is still providing the Seminole Nation with unique ways to show their spirit. As the last locally owned FSU merchandise source in Tallahassee, we're proud to be a part of the Florida State experience and this community. If you're a Seminole like me, this is your store. Garnet & Gold. Go Noles.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Real Talk 93.3 is proud to welcome our newest live show to the lineup. Living Tallahassee On Air, hosted by Patty Wilson and Jason Taylor, presented by Tallahassee Ford. It's every Friday at noon and it's based on the popular Living Tallahassee Facebook group. We take your phone calls and we discuss all things local, from what events are happening around town to helpful tips and advice on how to make the most out of living in the capital city. So tune in every Friday at 12 noon. It's Living Tallahassee on Air, hosted by Patty Wilson and Jason Taylor, presented by Tallahassee Ford, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on Big River on a Monday. Just a pep in the step. Just a pep in the step, buddy. Football's back. Extended daylight.
That's what it is. It's the twilight for you.
Buddy. Love it. Love it. Although it does lead to added pressure to make sure that all your lawn stuff is taken care of. Because you don't got an excuse. Like I can't. It got dark. I can't do that now.
No lawn at the penthouse. I'm covered there.
Yeah, you are. There he is. There's my man, Ira Schoffel. Warchant.com joins us now, as he's wont to do on a Monday. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm great, man. Loving the extra daylight.
You and me both.
Oh man, it's glorious. It just brings me back to being a kid and getting to stay out longer. And I still feel like that same kid sometimes, even though I don't look like him anymore.
I think that I recall being on my mongoose, Ira, my kick-ass BMX mongoose. It was black and yellow, just like the Spartans that I would later play for. And I remember riding that mongoose and sprinting down 54th Avenue trying to get over to Pinellas Point Drive because Mom told me to be home before dark, and I left my buddy Andy's house too late, and now the sun is setting, and it's 8:30 at night. But you had that extension, so you had to go, man. It was glorious. I remember those days like they were yesterday, and, of course, for you and I, they were like 40 freaking years ago. All right, what did we learn today? Anything from spring football? What do we got?
No, it's a good. I was thinking earlier, like, what if they don't actually practice anymore? Because last year we could at least watch them make the walk from the locker room across the parking lot to the practice field, so we knew they were out there. But now, man, they're in the compound. They get dressed over there. They go straight out onto the field. They go back. Maybe what if Mike Norvell just said, "You know what, guys, let's just do something different this year. We're not going to practice, and I'll do a press conference." And I'll just make up some stuff.
I'll tell people what I wished were true. I'll get out there and say, boy, I'll tell you, Ashton's really taken to the offense. I mean, you should have seen him out there today, guys. I don't think the ball hit the ground. Yeah,
exactly. Best first day we've ever seen.
You guys aren't going to believe me. We had two separate players run a sub 4.40 today. It was something. One of them's a linebacker, guys.
And he could do the thing that Jimbo used to do. Jimbo would tell us, remember, he'd do it to you also, I'm sure, but he'd do it in the press conference. He'd be like, I wish you guys could have seen it. Well, actually, you could have made that happen.
Yeah, we could have seen it if you'd let us in. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times Jimbo told me somebody was going to be the best that he had ever coached at a certain position. I'd go, oh, really?
Yeah.
And then you'd see him play. You're like, it's not true. He's not going to be that. Now, sometimes it was. I mean, he bragged on Jameis from day one, and that turned out to be real, very, very real. Well, you and I haven't had a chance to talk since we both ran into each other on Friday, obviously, for the Norvell press conference. Did you take anything away from that you think provides some insight, or was it just sort of nothing really learned there?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, the kind of the overriding theme, I think that, from talking to people around the team, I've been hearing for the last few months. And then, it was just echoed talking to a lot of the coaches on Friday. And, I think a little bit maybe from the interviews today it's one of those things that it's what you want to hear, but I understand that the fans who are like, I don't care. Like, I won't believe it. I don't believe anything until I see it on the field. But, I was hearing it before press conferences. I'm sure it's things that, you and Tom have heard as well. It's just, they do like this group of players. And it's not that they didn't like the entire team last year. I think they liked the team last year better than the year before. But there were some pockets. There were some pockets of players who maybe weren't all bought in. There's some pockets of players who, when things went bad, just kind of fell apart and maybe checked out a little bit. And I thought, there's a quote from Tony White that we ran over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was very telling. He said, we have a lot of guys who appreciate Coach Norvell and appreciate the opportunity to wear Florida State's jersey. And well, when you say that, you're kind of implying that there were some guys last year who didn't. And so, as you piece together things like that, I mean, it's what you want to hear. Now, whether or not these guys are good enough to win football games, whether they're good enough to beat SMU in the second game of the season, we'll have to see. But in terms of like this time of year and the things you can evaluate, you'd rather have that than not have that.
I want to ask you about the other side because I agree with you there. I actually thought Tim Harris Jr. Opened up a little bit. And when he talked, I thought it was interesting to listen to him talk about formationally they're able to get more of their skill players on the field than what maybe Gus did and get more receivers involved in the offense. To me, he was trying hard not to take shots, but I look at that as he was basically lamenting that some of what Gus did really kind of isolated one guy, and some of the other players at the position, let's say receiver, didn't really feel like they were part of anything. Did you sense that?
Yeah, he's always going to be very differential to Gus Malzahn because he was, worked for him for several years. But who knows? Maybe he'll work for him again at some point. But I do think he was doing two things. I think one is he was letting maybe these guys know that, and echoing what they've been telling these guys, is that, it's not going to be just the Deuce Robinson show with Mekhi Danzy being best supporting actor. We do have other receivers, and we want to get them the ball. I mean, last year, Boggs got a few opportunities. Squirrel White just didn't get any opportunities. There was no semblance of an intermediate passing game, which is something that's kind of by design with what Gus does. But so you like to think that that's going to come back. And as that comes back, that opens up some things for maybe some of the receivers who aren't your deep threats, but maybe you can get the ball to them in those windows over the middle. And then, I also think that, from a standpoint of you talked about the formationally, Mike Norvell brought that up today as well, unsolicited. He just mentioned that there's some things we're going to do formationally, a little bit more motion, I think. Oh, no, actually it was Deuce Robinson brought it up. He talked about, I think maybe it was Deuce or Norvell, one of them. They talked about how they were going to do more in terms of shifting and motion and those pre-snap things. And again, whether or not that translates to improvement, we'll see. But yeah, I think they've made it clear. And I thought Tim Harris definitely made it apparent in that interview that not only is the offense going to be different, but he is going to have some elements to it. Like he's putting in some of his stuff. I think one of them also mentioned today that there's going to be some more RPO stuff as well. So I do think the offense is going to look different with Mike Norvell and Tim Harris than what we saw a year ago.
Well, good. I definitely want to see something different, buddy. I'll tell you that. I desperately want to see something different. Before I let you go, and we'll have a chance to talk about it some tomorrow, but man, how lovable is this basketball team? It's a shame, too, man. If they hadn't blown the Wake game and the Virginia game, we'd be having a very different conversation. And I don't think there's a lot of people that want to play Florida State right now. This is a bunch who now not only plays better, but they believe they're going to win.
Dude, they believe they're better than everybody they play. And if you watch Luke's press conference after their game on Saturday, when, again, it's like 3 games in a row now where they just have 20-point leads on ACC teams.
Yeah.
That's just what they do. I mean, that's not normal. And they did it again against the SMU team that I know they're missing a good player, but still was thought to be a tournament team for most of the season. And you're just randomly up 22 points in the second half. But at the end of his press conference, Luke said, I think, and I'm not backing down for this, I think we can play with anybody. We can beat anybody in the ACC tournament. They think they can win it all. And there's no doubt. And you can see it in the guys' body language that they believe that. Because even when these leads evaporate, which happens maybe a little quicker than you want sometimes, but in all of these games where they've had the big lead and it's evaporated, you never sense that they're panicked or worried. Like they're just very confident that they're just going to bury the next 3. They're going to make the next free throws. They're going to get the next stop. And yeah, man, the thing that's unfortunate to me, and I'm not going to, lament too much about this season because it's kind of a little bit of found money. Like nobody expected that
right.
The tournament, but you do wish you could see them play longer. So, I mean, I really like to see them make a run, as much as of a run they can make in the ACC tournament. You'd like to see them play in the NIT tournament. It's just, as you said, lovable, or just it's just been a joy to see a bunch of guys play better than their individual parts, because that's what you love to see in sports. And Luke has done it with this team, and what an unbelievable coaching job he's done.
Yeah, it's when you're 0-5, you can lose a team in a hurry, and we worried about it, and the opposite happened, and that's a joy because it's rare and it's really cool. It also gives you hope for next year, where this whole thing is headed. Always appreciate it, brother. We'll talk again tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Yep, take care. That's Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Go get the latest on spring football and all the guys over there covering that for you on Warchant.com. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A gas station on West Orange Avenue was on fire early Sunday morning. TFD responded to the fire at about 3:14 a.m. and said it involved a Marathon gas station. The building was fully engulfed when they arrived, but there were no occupants as the building was closed. The fire was reportedly under control within an hour. The cause of the fire is under investigation by the Florida State Fire Marshal's Office. This is a developing story. The Tallahassee Police Department is asking for the public's assistance in locating a car suspected in a Thursday night hit and run. The incident left a pedestrian seriously injured. The incident unfolded in Northwest Tallahassee around Capitol Circle Northwest in the 4400 block of West Tennessee Street. Anyone with information is urged to contact TPD at 850-891-4200 or to remain anonymous, call Crime Solvers at 850-574-TIPS. This is Rachel Lene with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 83. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 64. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with fog in spots. Highs level out around 86 with fog in spots. Early tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 83 degrees.
Fresh Florida sweet corn. Beneath their golden tassels and bright green husks lies row upon row of summertime perfection. Captivating kernels of yellow or white, or a combination of the two. Ready to be grilled, boiled, or roasted, this cream of the crop can turn any soup into a chowder. Tossed in a salad, mixed in a side dish, or eaten straight off the cob like a typewriter. There's no wrong way to enjoy Florida sweet corn. To see what Florida sweet corn can do for you, visit freshfromflorida.com.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, did I ever tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood? Oh, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But they still try to break the rules, right? Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life. And the best game you ever played was that game. Never been a better one. Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff? I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Question in here from Easy Living. Jeff and Tom. In honor of spring ball, name a couple of players you want to see have breakout seasons this fall. Okay, that's actually a fun topic because I have some thoughts on that. I would like to see Cromall become a bona fide superstar in this offense and a stud. Listen, I get it. They embrace a very modern approach with rotation. There's not going to be a bell cow, but I'd like to see him average around 10 to 12 carries a game, bare minimum. And have that translate, and you got to change his speed with Wisner. But I'd like to see Cromall emerge, 225 pounds, and he's got a mentality that suggests nastiness. It'd be fun to watch. Now anybody can say that, and you guys know that he's a talented guy that we spend a lot of money on. But some players that we need and would like to see have a breakout season. Andre Otto is important, I think, to emerge as a guy that is homegrown, that you brought in, that you recruited, that hopefully you're developing to the point where he can start for you now. I'd love to see that. I like the young man as well, so I'm biased. I'm rooting for him, but I think Andre Otto, he's a redshirt junior. If not now, when? He's got to play, man, right?
Well, I think, at least being the 8-man Herb Hand rotation.
Well,
he couldn't get to 8 last year. You got to have him be a part of the 8 at minimum this season. And there might be an opening there at guard, potentially, but we'll see.
I think so. So there's that. I would like to see.
I got one. Landon Thomas. With this offense returning back to some of Mike's principles, some of the things you were just discussing with Ira about formations and player usage, maybe the H-back finally might be used a little bit more the way that Landon Thomas is capable. He's not afraid to block. That was part of his high school tape. It was part of his high school DNA, was that he wasn't a receiving first and receiving only tight end. He liked to mix it up and be physical. That could be a big thing for Florida State if he actually has a good season and he breaks out. I think that changes the offense in a lot of ways.
I'm going to give you a guy that a lot of you would say, wow, that really would be a surprise, and I don't anticipate that. And, if you're trying to go out of left field, when he first got here, he was the most impressive of the young secondary players in terms of speed. Jamari Howard, 6'2", he played at Norland down in Miami, lengthy and could fly. I mean, just fly. But he was seriously set back with the ACL and missed the entirety of a season. And a speed guy like that, a change of direction guy like that, sometimes it takes like a good 1.5 to 2 years. And he was buried on the depth chart because of it. But when he committed to Florida State, and the first time I saw him, he's 6'2", he's long, I thought, oh, wow, they may have a guy. I mean, he's physically, that speed, that athleticism, that length, I thought he could be something. I have a suspicion he's finally freaking healthy, and I'm rooting for that kid to surprise people, to demand through play that he gets on the field. He's still young. He's what? I just pulled him up. He's a redshirt sophomore. He's still young. Like, he's hopefully he's physically ready to compete and give himself a chance to get on the football field.
I'm going to go with a true freshman that I'd like to see have a breakout year, and that requires also recovery and being fully healthy, and that's linebacker Isaiah Williams. He was the number 1 linebacker in Rivals rankings. They kept him there even after the injury that he suffered, but he's on schedule. We talked about him a little bit last week. I know Matt Lasser's been very close to the reporting of this in terms of the recovery, the plan, full speed, ready to go by fall. There is access here to the football field at linebacker. If you're just a good linebacker and a good player, I think they're going to be willing to take some lumps and growth moments in order for there to be an impact player at that level. This defense specifically, if Isaiah Williams breaks out and and by breakout, I would define as an average ACC linebacker as a true freshman, that could really help change things with all the rotations that you do. I mean, this guy was nasty. Get downhill, he'd end you. Like there's a physicality that he has. You just got to see if he can be as explosive and agile on the knee. We'll see. But that would be a great candidate because it would change some things for you.
So there's a few guys. I mean, we'll probably come up with others. I would really like to see that. There's a few guys there that I just root for that kid, man. That blow out your knee so early in your career is devastating. So I want Howard to have a chance. Yeah, Mike Evans is gone. No longer a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Instead goes to the San Francisco 49ers. You know what, Troy? Congrats to you. You're getting a stellar human being. Mike Evans is a wonderful human being and a Hall of Fame football player for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He will go into the Hall as a Buck, but he'll play football next year in San Francisco. They signed him to a 3-year deal. Now, you might think that I'm upset about this, but I'm really not. Mike has battled hamstring issues 2 years in a row. He's a guy that, has had a brilliant career, and I've loved him, but I did not want to spend a lot of money on Mike Evans. You've got a lot of receivers. You got Godwin. You got Emeka. You've got McMillan. You've got plenty of receivers. You're fine at wide receiver. Emeka can now become the man. You need him to be healthy. But I'm fine with that. I want the Bucs to spend elsewhere. Now, look, I don't love that they're bringing Cade Otton back, but that's not a huge deal. Whatever. He's not a bad player. He's just whatever. He's kind of that guy.
Yeah, this feels a lot like when, as Tampa fans out there, if you're Tampa across the board or two of the big three, when Stamkos left. The amount of money that Nashville was willing to pay Steven Stamkos was not what he was worth.
Yeah.
Not in our roster and what we needed and our room against the cap. So that was hard.
Yeah, you don't like to see great ones leave, but
no.
Sometimes it happens that way. If guys want to continue to play, like if Lavonte David is going to continue to say that he wants to play, well, he's going to play elsewhere because there's no reason to bring him back to Tampa.
Yeah, the term for Mike is just ludicrous, too. 3 years is insane, which means that you're guaranteeing 2 and you're hoping that that third year he's still a good player, which I hope the thing that I'll watch for every week, and I was doing it the last few years, is NFL all-time receiving leaders, NFL all-time touchdown catchers. Devontae Adams had a really nice bounce back year this year,
yes.
But it was Mike Evans and Devontae Adams just neck and neck, climbing up the ranks into the top 10, towards the top all time. Evans is going to chase down some records in that offense if he can stay healthy because the matchups he's going to get are going to be phenomenal. Great offensive coach, and he's got 2 good quarterbacks. So if one of them goes down, the other guy will still be very apt to be able to go get him the football. 3 years is just crazy long-term, especially for where we are in our roster situation.
I'll give a little love to Jason Light. It was his first ever draft pick. You talk about hitting a home run.
Yeah, we were right down the road to the Midtown Pass that night.
Yep, your first ever draft pick is Mike Evans. It took him 7th overall in the 2014 draft, and he finishes his career in Tampa as the all-time leading scorer in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history. I'd say you hit a home run there. They always talk about the goal when you're drafting in the first round. I bring this up a lot because I've heard a GM say it and I've heard other people say it, and I think it's a worthwhile goal. It's not for any other round. You hope it to be true. But in the first round, if you're selecting somebody, you say to yourself, does this guy have a chance to wear a gold jacket? Mike Evans will wear a gold jacket. He will wear a gold jacket.
Yeah, and sometimes, unfortunately, his best performances, if you're just trying to list them out, in some of those cases, they're just forgettable moments for the team. One of his great performances was against the Rams, but then Todd blitzed Matt Stafford inside a minute to go after they were choking the game away. But what he did to Jalen Ramsey, what he did to that secondary that day was special. There was a game early in his career against the Seahawks when they were at the height of their Legion of Boom powers. I think Jameis was the quarterback. If it wasn't Jameis, it was Glennon. And he torched Sherman. Remember?
Oh,
Sherman almost got ejected from the game.
Yeah, he absolutely abused
He
him.
had some moments. And then, unfortunately, some other things got lost to time. He had a catch early in the Green Bay NFC Championship game for a touchdown that was good. But Brady airmailed him in the second half when we were choking that game away. It was a walk-in touchdown to Mike Evans, and he didn't obviously come through with that.
With Mike, you're not always sure.
You're not always sure. That's fair. The game he played against the Lions in the playoffs a few years ago on the road, he was phenomenal there too. Yeah, that guy, you hate losing a homegrown player, but just the economics of the situation, it's understandable.
Yeah, it is. It is very understandable. 11 consecutive seasons with 1,000 receiving yards, tied with Pro Football Hall of Famer Jerry Rice for most consecutive seasons with 1,000 yards or more in NFL history.
That catch against the Saints on the last play was
so cool.
Oh man, what a great moment.
It was nice. He wanted to break that record. Unfortunately, he broke his collarbone because he could have possibly done it. He would have. I mean, Baker was on fire for the first 7 games of the season. But, hey, that's he's 32, could be 33 at the start of the season. I'm not doing all that. It's what it is. So, wish him well. He'll go to the Hall of Fame, though. And it's cool when the Bucs have players like that. He'll be in the Ring of Honor. So will Lavonte David. I think David has a chance to go to the Football Hall of Fame as well.
Well, now back to the power brokering of either the Southeast or the NFC South. You saw that Jalen Phillips signed with the Panthers today for 4 years. They needed a little bit more help to fortify the pass rush for the long term, so they got that done. The Falcons are kicking the tires on Tua. That's a really strange move. You're letting Kirk walk to bring in Tua? Okay, that's strange.
But I will reiterate for Falcons fans, great story out there today. You can read about James Pierce Jr., who allegedly rammed his Lamborghini SUV into his WNBA player girlfriend, Rakea Jackson's car. There were 7 911 calls was released today as she desperately was calling the police for help. So, I think this is moving swimmingly for your Rookie of the Year candidate who had such a productive year off the edge to maybe miss the rest of his career. Wonderful. What a shame. What a shame.
They could have used Jalen Phillips.
This person who called, by the way, this other person who called 911 that night has announced she is willing to testify as well. So this is good. This is all setting up nice for the state.
It is. Relative to expectations, if these things go the way that they are projected to go right now, Malik Willis is going to be a Miami Dolphin. Looks like Kyler Murray might be in Minnesota.
What a tragic mistake.
Who would have the better season relative to the expectations next year if that comes to pass? Is it going to be Kyler with KOC? Is it going to be Malik down in Miami?
It'll be Kyler with KOC. There's so much weaponry. It's so much weaponry. It will be. Probably. That is not the. I'm really surprised by that. You know what you're doing when you're Minnesota, by the way, and this is what's interesting. Now they fired their GM, right? So they
did,
yeah, they fired their GM. Well, because they're announcing if they do this that their first round pick was a bust. They're announcing, in essence, that the pick was a bust.
They had a weird sports day about a month ago. They fired both of their GMs, the big two.
Yeah.
The Twins and the Vikings fired their general managers on the same day. Which one do you lead with? I guess you have to lead with the Vikings, but yeah.
Man, he's got to be a little pissed, man. They drafted that quarterback, and he would have had to have given his approval on that too, though. He doesn't get out from under that. He said, because there's no way they didn't ask the coach, the offensive mind that is him. Do you want this kid or not? And but you bring in Kyler Murray. You just told your new GM and everybody else, yeah, we whiffed. Get rid of this bum. We whiffed.
Once you heard his name was 9, that's that.
Final hour, fourth coverage. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
You probably already know